Bioshock is art. Bioshock is everything. This game is one of the reasons I inspire to be a writer. It's one of the very best inspirations of my life. This game came out whenever I was 12 years old, before I had a 360 or a PS3, and I saw the trailer for it online, and just like that, I was hooked. I'd never seen a world so fully realized in a game, so rich, so disturbing, so weirdly real. I'm not alone on this either. Bioshock is often touted as one of the best accomplishments in self-expression and vision in the medium, and I'm in full agreement. Ken Levine is an absolute madman and a hero of mine. So rarely do you get a single vision like this in a AAA game that isn't a Hideo Kojima or Hidetaka Miyazaki game. Needless to say, Bioshock had its name heard, and it's still one hell of a game. I want to take a look at how, after 15 years, I and so many other people just can't get this game out of our heads. Just a side note, I won't be talking about the story or lore much in this video. I'm just going off the atmosphere alone. If you're curious about that kind of thing, there are plenty of other great channels that will provide that kind of content, or just play the game. Another thing is that I actually am going to be reading directly off the wiki in some parts of this video, and I will give credit when I do, so it doesn't seem like I'm plagiarizing or anything, and I'll give a link in the description. Let's go. 1960. A plane crashes in the middle of the ocean. Most of the passengers on board are killed, except for one man. That's you. You come up for air, and if you listen closely, you can actually hear the passengers screaming. Fun. You make your way to this lighthouse-looking building. What is this place? Make your way down to the spherical chamber that takes you down further into the ocean.
I am Andrew Ryan, and I'm here to ask you a question. Is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow? No, says the man in Washington, it belongs to the poor. No, says the man in the Vatican, it belongs to God. No, says the man in Moscow, it belongs to everyone. I rejected those answers. Instead, I chose something different. I chose the impossible. I chose rapture. The artist would not fear the censor, where the scientist would not be bound by petty morality, where the great would not be constrained by the small. And with the sweat of your brow, rapture can become your city as well.
City of dreams, free from government, free from religion, free from constraint. All good things of this earth flow into the city.
Someone new.
Just like that, everything you imagined, the wonder, the beauty, and all the good things you imagined this place to be, annihilated. You grab a shortwave radio with an Irish fellow named Atlas guiding you. He seems to know a lot of insight about this place, so then you step out of the so-called bathysphere to take in the environment. There seems to be some civil unrest, to say the least. It seems you're in a transit of sort, noted by the transit display screens, so we get away with whatever that thing was that attacked us, just to find someone else trying to attack us. What the hell is this place? You walk upstairs to the lights guiding you to this machine.
Bruh.
You catch a quick glimpse of the local psychos and this little girl and whatever the hell that thing is. You wake up with bolts of lightning running through your fingertips. Well, that's probably fine. Take the elevator upstairs to be met with...
Mom's gone. And Daddy too. Wait. This is happening before and none. Why aren't you here? Why is it today and not then when you were warm and sweet? Why can't Mommy hold you to her breast and feel your teeth? Oh, no. No, 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 no.
After that, you enter this once beautiful restaurant with a lounge, bar, tables, and even a live music set. What could have happened here? Moving upstairs, well, that's the scariest fucking thing I've ever seen. You make your way into this theater room and you spot the weird little girl that you saw earlier. Yeah, noted. Don't mess with the little sisters. Atlas tells you to head to this place called Neptune's Bounty, but... Atlas says to head another way, and you're interrupted by the man himself.
So tell me, friend, which one of the bitches sent you? The KGB Wolf or the CIA Jack?
He seems a lot more haggard sounding, less sophisticated than he did in the original recording. Almost sounding more like a gangster. We get the hell out of Dodge into the medical pavilion. When founded, the Medical Pavilion was the hub for medical business inquiries in Rapture, and was responsible for treating various illnesses and health-related problems. As Adam became widely available among the citizens of Rapture, its self-healing abilities changed the use of all the pavilion's healing facilities. Later, due to the instability of Adam and excessive use amongst many of Rapture's citizens, unforeseen physical deformations began to occur. In response, many hospital facilities quickly came replaced by cosmetic surgery facilities such as Dandy Dental and Dr. Steinman's aesthetical ideals. The medical pavilion is largely intact with the exception of dental facilities. One of the highest ranking doctors was Dr. Steinman, a cosmetic surgeon who was known to be a perfectionist in his work. Dr. Steinman was the head surgeon in the Department of Aesthetic Ideals and believed strongly in the remarkable effects of Adam. However, as Dr. Steinman continued his professional use of Adam, he began to suffer chronic brain and physical damage. The more obsessed and deranged he became, the more he strived for perfecting his skills by deforming his patients as well. Out of all the reported cases of his surgical abuse, the most famous was Diane McClintock, whose face was distorted beyond the damage done after Atlas's attack. Dr. Steinman's growing insanity shows what splicing could potentially do to anyone and the danger in which Adam and plasmids came to be. You enter the medical pavilion to what looks like a receptionist room. You head upstairs to... Oh boy. Hallways where nurses and doctors ran, medical tools lying about. This place is completely destroyed. Told to go kill the doctor, but you're blocked from doing so. You have to make a few stops to get there, the first being Eternal Flame. A rather morbid name for a crematory. You can actually burn someone into a plasmid. Neat. This place is a creepy funeral home with a back off. Okay, leaving now. The last stop we make before facing the big bad is dental care. The chairs, the creepy Art Deco walls give this place the worst possible feeling of dread. I love it. Thanks, I hate it. So now we're able to fight the big baddie.
What can I do with this one, Aphrodite? She won't stay still! I want to make them beautiful, but they always turn out wrong! That was too fat! This was too tall! This was too symmetrical! And now... What's this, guys? An intruder? He's ugly! 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 Ugly!
Bruh.
Well, that takes care of that. We use his key to get the freak out of this place. Medical Pavilion is a brilliant first larger area to introduce this game. It's one of the most horrific places in the game. It really sets the mood of how this place is completely turned into hell on earth. So now we head into Neptune's Bounty. Neptune's Bounty was perhaps the largest port complex in Rapture, where the vast majority of the city's fishing business were located. Since seafood accounted for a significant portion of the average Rapture citizen's diet and was a highly prevalent resource at the bottom of the sea, Neptune's Bounty and the business therein were vital to the city's stability. One of those businesses, Fontaine Fisheries, served as a cover for Frank Fontaine's illegal smuggling operation. A significant event which happened at Neptune's Bounty was the discovery of the mutagen sea slug, the producer of Adam. A fisherman with a crippled hand was bitten once, and Dr. Bridget Tenenbaum noticed that the man's hand had regenerated. It was through Dr. Tenenbaum's following experiments that Adam, Eve, plasmids, and genetic tonics came to be developed in Rapture. As the Rapture Port Authority began to crack down on the smuggling ring, it was eventually discovered who their ringleader was. This culminated in a bloody shootout between Fontaine's followers and Ryan's security. Shocked by the huge number of citizens involved in the smuggling ring, the Rapture Central Control Center made smuggling in the capital offense punishable by hanging. In the first few weeks of the Civil War, after Atlas thugs were forced out of Point Prometheus, they ran to Neptune's Bounty. They managed to keep control over the district for some time before finally being defeated by Ryan's forces, after which much of the district was locked up and the remaining smugglers decided to barricade themselves in Fontaine Fisheries for their own safety. Neptune's Bounty seems to be a fishing port of some type. Fontaine's Fisheries and McCracken's Crabs seem to be a seafood provider of some sort. The port is complex and is actually one of the largest places in the game, spanning many levels. I can definitely imagine how busy this place could have been in its heyday. You meet some weirdo named Peaches, and he asks you to grab a camera and take pictures of ceiling-crawling splicers named Spider Splicers. One of the areas I always think of whenever I think of this game is this tavern area, called the Fighting McDonough's Tavern. Not really sure why. Something about this place just resonates with me. It's really cozy in a dark way. Actually has back rooms to rent, and yeah, they're fucked up. One of the most bone-chilling things I've ever seen in a video game actually takes place in this room. Just listen.
We saw our Masha today. We barely recognize her. That's her, Sam said. You're crazy, I told him. That thing? That is our Masha? But he was right. She was drawing blood out of a corpse by Fontaine Fisheries. And then when she was done, she walked off hand in hand with one of those awful golems. Masha!
Jesus, I don't even know what to say. I'm surprised they had the balls to put something like this in the game, but I'm glad they did. It's so fucked up, but it really drives home how many lives Rapture has ruined. This whole part of Neptune's bounty is odd. It has a bar/tavern right next to the post office, but the main area is a port complex. They just do things a little different in Rapture, I guess. You grab a bunch of picks and give them to Peaches, and then he tries to kill you.
Bruh.
Neptune's Bounty is actually one of the most complex levels in the game, and I love it. There are a bunch of secrets and things that you can miss on your first playthrough. It definitely has a smelly and icky vibe to it, and there are a few places you would rather visit than this place, but it's still a superb level. On to Smuggler's Hideout. After Frank Fontaine recruited his crew, this became the place where the smugglers went about and did their business. According to Peach Wilkins, they had to take Fontaine's mini-sub topside twice a week to pick up some choice goods not available in a remote place like Rapture. The smugglers also stole large quantities of alcohol from the Rapture Port Authority. Fontaine also likely used this fishing fleet of submarines to transfer contraband from the surface, allowing much greater scale and scope to the operation. Smuggler's Hideout is the backside of Fontaine Fisheries, and this Fontaine fellow seemed to be quite the shady bugger with all the stuff he was smuggling around Rapture. Could this have been a front? Atlas's family is trapped in a bathysphere, and as soon as we get to them, Ryan kills Atlas's family right in front of us. A destroyed Atlas tells us to get the fuck out of here, and we head to Arcadia. Arcadia is the living, breathing heart of Rapture. Its lush forests and abundant plant life serve to generate life-sustaining oxygen in the city. It was a tranquil haven for those seeking a respite from the daily rigors of city life to relax in solitude among the many trees and grassy hills. Vacationers seeking something more relaxing than flashing lights of Fort Frolic could find peace and serenity in the lovely waterfall grotto, tea garden, and other havens beneath the canopy of trees. Arcadia was very popular on Valentine's Day amongst couples, being an amorous environment. Arcadia was created by botanical scientists on Ryan's payroll, most notably Julie Langford. Langford helped create Arcadia and its agricultural research facility, and later used Adam to grow plants and trees. For a time, Arcadia was a free park for the citizens of Rapture, but Andrew Ryan closed Arcadia to all paying customers, as he believed the service it provided warranted payment. During the Civil War, a cult known as the Saturnine appeared in Arcadia. The cult members worshipped nature and indulged in splicing and drinking Adam as part of their rituals. Ryan vowed to put a stop to the Saturnine, whom he saw as organized religion, as their activities endangered citizens and disrupted the work of Arcadia scientists. The park experienced a number of lockdowns as the violence in the city became worse, and was eventually closed to the public altogether. However, Langford was still in her lab to continue to work on the Lazarus vector. Arcadia is the heart of Rapture, plant life stewing about, giving the city oxygen. Arcadia also seems to be a resort of sorts. Nice restaurants, beautiful scenery. The deeper you head into this place, the more sinister it becomes, with these weird posters everywhere and these teleporting splicers. As you progress, Ryan straight up kills Arcadia in a last-ditch effort to kill us, and everyone in Rapture. Luckily for us, there is a scientist who helps us to refurbish the trees back to life. She dies. Whoops. During our search, we come across the farmer's market. It's exactly what it sounds like. This is one of my favorite areas in the whole game. They nail the aesthetic of what the marketplace would have looked like in Rapture. Food thrown about, looted safes and pantries, etc. You come across this weird beekeeping center. If you stay, you'll get swarmed. It's actually fun trapping splicers in here. This next area is a place I often think about when thinking of this game. The vineyard called Whirly Winery. It's one of the cozier places in Rapture, which probably isn't saying much. I love this place. It has such a cool vibe. The basement of this place is huge and is actually kind of easy to get lost in. Seems to be some squatters here as well. Arcadia to me is probably one of the least interesting levels, just because it's a bit small and it all looks kind of similar. The farmer's market on the other hand is a joy to explore. The winery, the market theme is just such a cool vibe here. I love it. On to Hephaestus.
You're almost there. The Spirit Orion is up on ahead. Ryan's handed the keys to Fort Frolic over to a guy named Sander Cohen. Cohen's an artist, says some. He's a Section 8, says I. I've seen all kinds of cutthroats, freaks, and hard cases in my life. But Cohen, he's a real lunatic. The guy's psycho.
That's better. Atlas Ryan. Atlas Ryan. Da 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 da. Time-wise, you could get something decent on the radio. The artist has a duty to seduce the ear and delight the spirit. So say goodbye to those two blowhards, and hello to an evening with Sander Cohen.
Every society, even the one at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, needs a place to unwind. A place where adults can indulge themselves with a couple of drinks and go on a spending spree with a day of shopping, to take in a show, or try their luck in a casino. And Rapture, one such a place, was Fort Frolic. Decorated in neon lights, torchiere columns, and checkerboard tiles, Fort Frolic was a glamorous setting that featured everything from the fine arts such as music, film, theater, and even the more salacious distractions such as strip clubs and gambling. It was also a shopping destination featured by many boutiques selling goods and luxurious clothing and fine tobacco and liquor. The fort was run by Sander Cohen, an artist, director, gallery owner, and a real lunatic dyed in the wool of a psychopath. As one of Rapture's most celebrated artists, he used the district as his personal platform. He presented a number of his works in the Cohen's collection or on stage in the Fleet Hall. Every 5th of November, a large celebration was held to commemorate the founding of Rapture. In 1959, during the Rapture Civil War, Cohen closed Fort Frolic to the public, resulting in the closure of the theaters, and artists like Cheris Sheet and Mille Blanche de Glace lost their jobs. However, Cohen promised the people of Rapture one Fort Frolic. What the unfortunate citizens didn't realize, however, was their time in the Frolic would become their permanent residence. Cohen trapped many of the people in the district when he closed it off to the public, using them as his twisted works of art. So on your way to Hephaestus, your radio starts to malfunction a bit, and it seems to be hacked somehow. Someone by the name of Sander Cohen has hijacked your radio. You enter this place called Fort Frolic, a huge entertainment metropolis where fun is infinite. Slot machines, poker cards, theater, and even strip club joints litter this entertainment metropolis. However, something quite sinister is afoot here. All these frozen bodies that look like statues seem to bleed, and
Sander Cohen. I want to take the ears off, but I can't. I hop, and when I hop, I never get off the ground. It's my curse, my eternal curse. I want to take the ears off, but I can't. It's my curse. It's my fucking curse. I want to take the ears off. Please, take them off. Please.
yeah, that. It seems this Cohen fella has taken complete control over this place and has mutated it and perverted it to his liking. A deep sense of dread flows through this place, more so than any other place we have visited before. Well, at least this cigar joint is kinda cozy. Well, almost. Cohen instructs us to go kill some of his enemies and to take their picture to put in his masterpiece. On your travels, you'll see casinos, bars, lounges, and oh no. You finish his weird art piece and he finally reveals himself. A rejected artist that took his frustrations out on everything and everyone still roaming Fort Frolic, including us. He gives us a gift and lets us continue on our journey. Fort Frolic is probably my second favorite area in the game. One moment you're gawking at this place's beauty, then you turn a corner to something horrific and genuinely bone-chilling. The whimsy, the macabre, the disturbing, it's all here, folks. Everything about Bioshock is represented in this place. There's a reason why this place still haunts us after all these years. On to Hephaestus. For real this time. The home of the Hephaestus Powers facility is the main power production source for Rapture and is located at the southern end of the city. Designed by Andrew Ryan, it harnesses the heat from the geothermal vents on the ocean floor. Hephaestus was one of the initial facilities built in Rapture. Without it, Rapture could not have been powered. Hephaestus also contained the private office of Andrew Ryan. In the post-construction era, many of the specialists who built Rapture worked in various workshops or became maintenance employees. During the Civil War, the facility was continuously attacked by rebels, as taking control of the city's main power source would have granted them victory in the war. Many workers were killed during these attacks, and a number of attempts were even made on Ryan's life. Adam's sickness and the increased paranoia of being murdered led to the workers killing each other, and the workshop are now littered with corpses of people who kept Hephaestus functioning. Hephaestus is the very core of this forsaken city. This is the skeleton of Rapture, the backbone, industry incarnate, that the power that pumps through Rapture all comes from here. Bodies strewn about. People who've crossed Ryan have all met the same fate, and are displayed like decorations outside of Ryan's office. We gotta find a way in. The only way we get in is to destroy the core. We make a bomb from parts around Hephaestus. On our travels, we look out to see that this place is harvesting magma from the ocean's floor to power the entire city. There's not a ton to say about this place, however it is an industrial nightmare that I'm sure will give David Lynch the creeps. Not one of my favorite areas, but still very intriguing and disturbing. It's also just disturbing that a lot of these people who were just trying to make an honest working here wound up getting killed or wound up going insane because of all the crazy shit that was going on. Now, we're ready. We're ready to head to Ryan's office to kill the son of a bitch. The headquarters of Andrew Ryan. From this unbreachable fortress within Hephaestus, Ryan has controlled all of Rapture for years. We're ready to confront him. After we blow up the core, we go down into the control center where Ryan resides. Seems to be the very beating heart of Rapture, and by its side is Ryan.
Even in the Book of Lies, sometimes you find truth. There is indeed a season for all things. And now that I see you flesh to flesh and blood to blood, I know I cannot raise my hand against you. But know this, you are my greatest disappointment. Does your master hear me? Atlas, you can kill me, but you will never have my city. My strength is not in steel and fire. That is what the parasites will never understand. A season for all things. A time to live and a time to die. A time to build and a time to destroy!
You do that to your puppy? She's very pretty.
Thank you, Papa Sushon.
Break her neck for me.
What?
Break that sweet puppy's neck.
No, please.
Break that puppy's neck. Would you kindly?
No. No.
Very good.
We meet Ryan and stuff happens.
Obey!
We get the key to Rapture, and one of the most shocking twists in video game history happens. So then we fall down into a chute and we wake up next to some little sisters. We come to in this weird place with all these little sisters and a doctor named Dr. Tenenbaum. If you've been saving the little sisters, these seem to be the ones that we've been saving all along. That lead us back into the city, ready to help us get revenge. Olympus Heights was an area which, similar to Apollo Square, contained a central tram route to connect the residential districts to the rest of the city. The district housed some of the most well-established apartment buildings in all of Rapture, Mercy Suites and Athena's Glory. Mercy Suites contained the most luxurious and expensive apartments in Rapture, belonging to the most successful workers and residents, including Bridget Tenenbaum, Sander Cohen, and even the infamous Frank Fontaine. There also existed a number of businesses in the district, which catered exclusively to the upper class. The bistro at the center of the district offered fine food and expensive drinks to the wealthy as they passed through the tram lines on their way to or from work. The Adonis Luxury Resort, located within the area, also provided a relaxing getaway and offered a number of spa treatments and recreational facilities. During the war, life in Olympus Heights became as dangerous as the entire area became a literal war zone. Rebels from Apollo Square gained access to Olympus Heights thanks to the tram tunnels, and the district was continuously under the threat of attack. Even with the increased security measures, curfews, and police barricades, almost all of the businesses in the district were left in ruins, and the trams ceased functioning. As the war dragged on into 1960, the violence slowed, but the damage had already been done. So Olympus Heights seemed to be the living quarters. Apartments, schools, markets, train cars, and bars. This is where the wealthy raised their families and lived lavishly. We actually go into Sander Cohen's apartment to see people dancing and, oh, buckshots.
I'm coming down there, little moth. Coming down to teach you to dance.
Jesus, I was only robbing you, dude. Chill. We wind up going into Fontaine's house to grab a few potions to heal ourselves, but the other potion is in a place called Apollo Square. Apollo Square seems to be the connecting hub of Rapture and more living quarters. Transportation, buildings, experiments, all seem to have taken place here.
Clinical trial protector system, plasmid lot 255. Dr. Suchong, client Ryan Industries. Very frustrating day. I can't seem to get the damn big daddies to imprint on the little brats. The protection bond is just not forming.
Papa Suchong?
Get away. Maybe if I modify the genetic sequence... Shush! The sequence to allow for... Get away, you filthy little shit! What? What are you doing? Get back! Get back!
We get our potions and get the fuck out, but not before finding an orphanage. The Little Sister Orphanage. This place reeks of trauma and cruelty. Imagine the horrors that took place within. This is one of the few places in the game that I actually feel genuinely uncomfortable traversing through. It's all a little too real. Olympus Heights and Apollo Square are actually my favorite locations in Bioshock. It's one of the most detailed, horrific. It's just something about how the families and people that lived here have remnants of them still here, and it's just chilling. It's almost like Chernobyl in a way. This whole place feels personal and feels evil in a way that is unique to this place only. This is the part in the game to where it really feels like Rapture is a living creature and has scarred, destroyed, and traumatized people for life. Located at the edge of the city, Point Prometheus was Rapture's genetic research center, mainly focused on the development of plasmids and genetic modifications that optimized eugenics, and the creation and bonding of Big Daddies and Little Sisters respectively at Failsafe Armored Escorts and the Little Wonders Education Facility. The Mendel Memorial Research Library, which holds a collection of science books and genetics, was also located here. Finally, Point Prometheus featured its own memorial museum dedicated to biology and notably Rapture's sea life, and was later closed down and repurposed into proving grounds, an obstacle course to test the Protectors and the Gatherers. The facilities were run by Dr. Yi Suchong under the development of Frank Fontaine and later Andrew Ryan after the nationalization of Fontaine Futuristics. During the first 2 weeks of the Civil War, Point Prometheus was overrun by rebels, and Suchong relocated all of his studies on his protection bond to his own secret laboratory in Apollo Square, eventually leading to his accidental death by successfully bonding it with a Big Daddy. After the rebels had been forced out of Point Prometheus and Ryan condemned Fontaine Futuristics headquarters, the facility became one of the few remaining establishments to engineer atom products in the city. By the end of the Civil War and by the time that we come into Rapture, the labs are in bad shape but still contain plenty of components scattered around with the creation of at least one more Big Daddy. So Point Prometheus is an old proving grounds dedicated to the creation of the Gatherers and Protectors, also known as Big Daddies and Little Sisters. Disgusting experiments and child torture were common within this place. We need to become a Big Daddy to progress, and we get to see exactly how they were made. The helmets, the boots, the suit, and even the smell in your voice are morphed to become one of those behemoths. I think I would say Point Prometheus is probably my least favorite area in Bioshock, just because it's kind of easy to get lost in, but maybe that's just me, and it's just a little frustrating. For one of the last levels of the game, I think this place probably could have been designed better. But the aesthetic of the game, of course, is fucking perfect, and the small sister orphanage is really disturbing. There's a kind of cozy little library here too, and there seems to be a ton of machinery around, with turrets and the electronic little helicopters strewn about. Besides that, there's not a ton to say about it, probably one of my least favorite areas in the game. Moving on. Originally before the Civil War, the Armored Escort Proving Grounds was known as the Memorial Museum of Point Prometheus, a grand establishment where citizens could visit and learn about ancient fossils and the splendors of the surrounding sea. After Big Daddies were assigned to become the protectors of the Little Sisters, the entire location was closed off to the public and hastily converted into a training area for protectors and their gatherers. The complex is topped with the dome, and the tower at the west end is the tallest structure in Rapture. So Proving Grounds is a memorial museum to what it must have looked like to build Rapture. Now, Rapture may have been built for good intentions, but has swiftly plummeted into depraved and perverted evil, that all this memorabilia just means nothing. All the men that risked their lives for this place are now mocked by Rapture, and this place only serves to celebrate the loss of humanity. Proving Grounds is almost like a last fuck you from Rapture herself. All this death, all this depravity that you faced at the hands of Rapture is now finally met with a museum and celebration. It serves as a good thematic final level, I think. You finally face Fontaine, kill him, and either free the Little Sisters or imprison them, living the rest of their lives happy and free, or forever chained to this purgatory. It all started with a dream of society free from government, religion, and all the other constructs that bound our feet to the soil. A place where imagination wasn't bound by money, wealth, or government regulation. A place where self-expression ruled, and your work would speak for itself. Ryan gave birth to a special thing, a hungry thing. Rapture hungered for growth and prosperity, and Ryan fed her like he would of his own daughter. Her hunger was insatiable, and she began to consume and consume. She outgrew Ryan, now only noticing from a distance, like one would a single hair on one's body. Rapture is a corpse that breathes. She's both dead and alive, and she's always watching, always aware of you, and at any moment, she'll eat you. Every scream, every gunshot, every drop of blood fuels her hunger for more. The atrocities echo through her hallways as her bastard father weeps and fears his own creation. Rapture is a monster, and you're her new toy. Oh my god, you guys made it to the end. I cannot thank you guys enough for watching this. I've seen the support this channel has been getting recently, and it has made me so happy. I am so thankful for every single one of you for watching this. I have really big plans for this channel and my online presence in general. So if you'd like to be a part of that journey, please follow me on Twitter or on Patreon, and my streams on Twitch and YouTube. Links for all of that will be in the description. I really appreciate the engagement. I've spent months on this video, and I hope it's up to snuff. Bioshock is genuinely one of my favorite games, and my respect for it has only grown over time. I hope I've done the game justice. So if you enjoyed this, feel free to subscribe and hit the bell, and who knows, I might just make a video about your favorite game next. See you later. Peace.